Hello and welcome to Physical Science Chapter 2 Section 1. Okay, so you have now officially made it into chemistry. Okay, so we're going to start talking about chemistry, how we deal with it, what it's all about. We're going to get into the good stuff now. Alright, so let's look at matter. Everything is made up of matter. So, what does it mean to be matter? Matter means that you have mass and take up space. Now, atoms have mass and take up space. So therefore, anything that's made up of atoms has matter in it. All right, now, as we move into chemistry, we're looking at how does matter interact with each other? What happens when you put things together? What happens when you take things apart? How do atoms react with each other? And that is why chemistry is the hub of all other sciences. Okay? All other sciences involve matter in some way or form. Therefore, they all are dependent on knowing some chemistry. So, really important to learn it. All right, so let's first talk about elements. Elements are the simplest form. Okay, if it is located on the periodic table, it is an element. The periodic table of elements tells you the different elements. They're down to, there's only one type of atom in each one, and they're different. And as we move along in chemistry, you'll find out the differences and why they are located where they are at on the periodic table. But first, let me show you a little joke. All right, so what is Batman's favorite element? So, shh. Batman. Okay, sodium is his favorite element. All right, little humor in there. Haha, I know it's kind of corny, but it'll be okay. All right, now, so we have elements which are down to the simplest form, and then we have compounds which are actually a combination of elements. So when you have two or more different elements formed together, you have a compound. Here we have table salt. This is actually sodium chloride, two compounds that are together. Okay, now what's really important to understand about a compound is that it cannot be separated easily. In fact, it takes a chemical reaction to separate it. So you're going to need a laboratory, which is, thank goodness, because this stuff would be really nasty if you separated it. Okay, sodium is a really reactive metal, especially with water. Has a really bad reaction. And chlorine is a poisonous gas. So it, by themselves, would not be a good situation. But bound together makes your table salt. You eat it. You have salt every day. So it really changes the individuality of the elements. All right? We also have molecules. Molecules are, again, elements that are joined together, which are usually sharing electrons. Okay, so water, a water molecule. Okay, hydrogen and oxygen are sharing electrons. All right, moving on, we will now come down to chemical formulas. Love chemical formulas. It is how we express chemistry. Okay, up here under compound, you'll notice I have two compounds here. I have carbon monoxide versus carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon monoxide is very dangerous. In fact, they make little alarms for it that you can put in your house. Note that when they tell you to mount them, they tell you to mount them near the floor. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air. Therefore, it sinks. So this is a gas that would actually smother you, and which is why you want those alarm systems close to the floor. Now, carbon dioxide you're probably more familiar with. Used in photosynthesis, plants take it up. So the characteristics of these are very different. Now notice the only thing that's changed here is proportion of oxygen to carbon. Okay, here there's one oxygen to one carbon, and here there's two oxygens to one carbon. So just changing that proportion of oxygen has changed the compound, right? Again, expressed in chemical formulas. I have another chemical formula down here, and we're going to sort apart how we would work with this. All right, so here I have 3 water molecules. Now, using algebra, you need to distribute that through if you wanted to find out how much of each element you have. So, distributing that through, that means I have 6 hydrogens and 3 oxygens. Okay, so this refers to the individual element, and this would refer to the compound or molecule. Okay, which means that you have to pull it all the way through algebraically if you are going to see how many of each element you have present in that compound. If there are any questions up to this point, I really encourage you to write them down and bring them to class. This way we can answer them, we can discuss them. Now the last thing this section covers is actually the pure substances and mixtures. Pure substances, example again, your table salt, cannot be broken down physically. Okay, we can't take a filter and break these apart from each other. It has to have a chemical reaction. So, again, good for us. The next thing we have is a mixture. Now, mixtures are a combination of materials together that can be broken down by physical means. So, for example, you could either boil the water away, you could use a filter. Okay, there are physical ways of breaking these mixtures down. Now, a good example of a mixture, when I think of mixtures, is mud. Okay, mud is a combination of water, dirt, rocks, leaves, twigs, maybe some dead animal parts, all mixed in together. Now, if we wanted to find out what was in the mud, we could separate that physically by using a filter or by simply leaving it out in the sun and letting the water evaporate out of the mud. So, that is a good example of a mixture. Now, I would call that type of mixture a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, everything is not the same throughout the mixture, so that's heterogeneous. Now, if the mixture is the same throughout, and you can't tell the different pieces or anything within the mixture, then it would be homogeneous mixture. Now, good example of that would be vinegar. Vinegar is acetic acid and water mixed together. Now, looking at vinegar, you think it's just one substance. It's not a mixture, but it actually is a mixture. So that would fall under the homogeneous category. I hope you have enjoyed this video and used the pause, rewind motions. And I will see you tomorrow in class. Bye-bye.